They say paradise is somewhere you visit. Well, it's just that you're a little closer to it here. I've got to thank, and I need you to get ready to put your hands together. We had a little visitor. Fancy calling a cyclone Kimmy. Like, you know, what are you going to do? Call the next one Poopsie or Darling? It could have knocked us around. It was forecast to come in as a Category 2. Between Hinchinbrook, you comfortable? You don't want a pillow? You right? Okay, just complain to Dad, Mum, all right? And then I'll go get a pillow for you, all right? Done. Between Hinchinbrook and Townsville, which would have been the same as Cyclone Yassi, whose anniversary 10 years ago on the 3rd of February. Who was here during Yassi? Oh, Yassi Day, as it was mentioned. I just want to say well done to all the staff because, as you know, the big stands with the spotlights, they had to take them down, otherwise they would have ended up in Mount Isa. So all through the rain, straight afterwards, the team from Halo put it back together. So please put your hands together for the Halo team. You know, they got us back on a night before, which is terrific. I would have to say this is one of the best backdrops anyone could have. What is, hey kids, what's that called there? What's that big thing there called? That's right, Mount Everest, isn't it?
Castle Hill.
Castle Hill it is. Cootharinga, magnificent. Now look to the right of our magnificent, glorious Cootharinga, our Castle Hill. Look to the right. Don't you reckon that looks like Jabba the Hutt? Don't you reckon it looks like Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars? Yep, we got some kids agreeing with me. Now, the front of this magnificent hill used to have vines over the front. The Bendel, the Woolgarukaba, all of those wonderful, wonderful first Australians told a man by the name of Edmond Banford that there were vines. Imagine vines over the front of our hill. Or the hoop pine that our early settlers and pioneers cut down, but to make the young but growing wonderful city of Townsville. Edmond Banford. Now, Edmond worked for the Townsville Bulletin in the late 1800s, and he lived at the base of our Cootharinga. And like me, he loved the stories told by our wonderful first Australians of the area about our hill. But Edmond was, as I mentioned, Chief of Staff of the Bulletin, but under stress and sickness, he caught tuberculosis, and they said he was going to die within a year. I love this story because it shows what North Queenslanders are like, what the pioneers are like, what their love of this area is like. Edmond wanted to find the idyllic life, a true Robinson Crusoe way before the story was ever written. He tried magnetic, no, that didn't suit him. And he found a place called Coonaunglabar, Dunk Island. Edmond Banford, blind in one eye. It's a love story. His wife Bertha, totally deaf. They lived on Dunk Island alone. Now this began in Townsville, this wonderful, wonderful love story. But he was supposed to pass away within a year, but he didn't. He lived for another 23 years on Bremo Bay on Dunk Island. The idyllic life, the beautiful islands that we have here, they're healthy. So make sure you go to Magnetic Island. while you're here over the next couple of weeks. You heard the little introduction. I'm a broadcaster. I'm privileged to be on the radio every morning, as I have been for near 40 mango seasons. And I loved learning about this city. So I sat in the library about, 37 mango seasons ago and learnt things. You see, our city, our North Queensland, they spent a lot of time naming our beautiful parts of the world. Let's have a look at the island. Now, there's a lot of thought went into the name of Magnetic Island or Yunbanan. No, this is serious stuff. The beautiful western area of the island, that point, they spent a lot of time, they named it West Point. There's a little island just off West Point, just in the bay there. So the early pioneers, they named it Bay Rock. There's a little reef in between Magnetic Island and the bigger island, Australia. A lot of thought went into this. They called it Middle Reef. These are stories, these are northern stories you need to know to live here. On Cape Cleveland, there's two beautiful beaches. One's a rather long beach. It's called Long Beach. The one right next to it, not as long, that's called Short Beach. You know, there's a bay over there. There's 5 beaches in it. Guess what they called it? 5 Beach Bay. And all the waterfalls are running at Huntingfield. There's some rocks at the end of Cape Cleveland. They dry to 20 foot. 20-foot rock. And the other one dries to 4 foot. So that's called 4-foot rock. See, you're learning. You'll be able to teach the kids this. There's a little bay on the other side of Cape Cleveland. In the mid-1800s, the shipwrecked sailors of the Peruvian came to shore on this beach. One of them, James Morrill, after all the others had passed away, they were 34 years at sea after going ashore at Minerva Shoals. This is the torment, the tragedy, but indeed the strength of our pioneers. Now, I believe this man, James Morrill, there should be a statue here, because we talk about reconciliation. There's nothing better than the story of James Morrill. He lived 17 years here, with the local First Australians. 17 years. 17 years. He was very frightened on one occasion. He was taken to the elders for a corroboree. And he thought he was going to be the main course. But when he got there, he realised the fire wasn't quite big enough to cook him. But he was panic-stricken. Well, you imagine it. He's a Scottish fella. And it was in the area of here. And it was pretty wild. He hadn't seen anyone else other than his new family. Everyone else had passed away that he was on the ship with, on the Peruvian. Everyone else had passed away. So he went to this corroboree and he thought it was his end of days. But the local elders of this area could see that he was frightened, that he thought that he was going to be cooked. So what they did, and I always reckon this is just the most wonderful story, and it says so much for this amazing area. What they did, all the elders, they put their hands in the corroboree fire, in the embers. And here's this big Scottish man, and all the elders went up to him and put their warm hands upon him to make him feel safe, to make him feel a part of the family. And that, I reckon, is a story that should be told. I might have some photos, Mike. Phil's probably listening. Look, as I mentioned, I am a broadcaster, and they said to me, please, tell a little bit of your story. The picture that's about to come up, Phil, is when I was 17. So it was taken 20 years ago. Don't you reckon the noses are the same? Have a look at the noses. The man is John Eden. Now, this is how it all began for me. I fell in love with a business called radio. And I was blessed years later to come up here. Now, that was many years. Any Melbourneites here? You shouldn't be. But they don't go home. I came up here but a lot of years after that was taken, and joined a heap of broadcasters. And I fell in love with this city, to be able to get up of a morning and broadcast to this wonderful part of the world. Phil, put on the next one if you can. You notice it's black and white. And doing things. We did the very first underwater broadcast in Australia. I wanted to put this up for you. Notice the hard hat. You just can't get them anymore. My mate Colin Hodson, we broadcast together, did my brekkie show from under the water at Reef HQ. Now, Reef HQ is getting transformed now. It's closing down. But when you pass it, remember, this was put together by one of the greatest institutes in the world, the Smithsonian Institute. Our Reef HQ is a living aquarium. When it opens again for the kids, in fact, you can go along on the 31st. The kids love this aquarium. It's the last day it'll be open for a long time. We opened it sitting on a giant clam, and that's how we did it. Just another one, thanks, Phil. This man, the late Bishop Michael Putney. Doing the job I do, you get to meet some extraordinary people and hear stories. This man, one of the wisest men I've ever met. I interviewed him just before Christmas one year, and he was very ill. He passed away through cancer. And I always pop into the cathedral and say good day to him. In a city like this, you get close. Yes, on our side, but also every one of you has a story. May you share your story, whether it be with the kids or whatever. Every part of life, and certainly North Queensland, is a story. I interviewed Michael Putney, and I said to him, I said, Bishop, would you class yourself as a wise man? And he said, Stephen, he always won. Stephen, only others call you wise. And then when they were doing up the cathedral, now I am not married, but I love my girl to bits. She's sitting there looking after me. And they always send me up about not being married. We were doing up the cathedral, put together by locals, fixing up the cathedral, and I noticed a sign on the wall said, no rice to be thrown at this cathedral during wedding ceremonies. And I thought, I've got him. I've got the bishop. Here we go. And I said, hey, Bishop, what's this story about no rice at the cathedral during weddings? That's a bit prejudice. You can't say that. He said, Stephen, you get married at my cathedral, you can throw rice. Bishop Michael Putney, one of the great men in this city, the late Bishop Michael Putney. This city has put together some amazing stories too. I'll just show you something here. How long have we got? Got a few minutes? 2 minutes? Sorry, I'm busy. There you go. The wonderful people from Happy Feet. Again, a creation in this city by the wonderful Lee Caldwell to help these just incredible people who are loved to bits, people with extra abilities. And that's what this city does. This city helps each other. And if we get a weather condition over the next couple of weeks with the lows, you watch how this city sticks together. I'll finish up with this. No, darling, it's not a diamond. Many years ago, a man by the name of Doug Tarker built the Yellow Submarine. He didn't patent it. It's now all over the world. He called his area Reeflink. And I had the great privilege of diving with the Yellow Submarine. It's now all gone, sadly. But you see, memories you've got to keep because it gets us into the next era. We learn from them. This is the window of the Yellow Submarine. Someone sent it to me when they were pulling it apart. This is treasure to me because through this glass, people loved seeing our reef, our Great Barrier Reef, because that's all that Doug wanted. He wanted to share the reef with the kids, with the people, everyone. People that couldn't dive. On the other side of this window, you could see the greatest reef in the world, and it still is. And I used to feed the fish, you know, with my scuba underneath. It was amazing. Look, I've shared a few stories with you. I hope you share your stories with everyone so that these little people who are our future learn from them, enjoy them, and laugh with you at life. And this city will help you. Northern Stories, thank you very much. Enjoy Halo. Enjoy our magnificent Kutharinga. I'll talk to you Monday morning. Happy days.
Please put your hands together for our storyteller. New chapters are written every day.